Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video, and today we are carrying on with the updated table predictions as we move on to League One. Probably the most inconsistent league out of all the leagues across England. This league is just incredibly hard to predict because you've got big teams, you've got small teams, and they're all jostling to get up and stay up, and it's mental. Let's get into today's video. Just before we talk about the 24 teams in League One, make sure if you haven't already, you've dropped a like on this video, subscribed if you are new around here, and let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So in my bottom four, I have gone for Crewe Alexandra, Morecambe Football Club, Gillingham, and Fleetwood Town. Now let's start with Crewe. It's been a bad start to this League One campaign. They've only won 1 in 16, and I think they need a massive turnaround to stay up now. They could win a couple games through the season and possibly not finish bottom, but they really need a good surge in form to try and catch up and overtake 4 teams at the bottom at least. And with Crewe, you've seen before, they can get relegated from League One. I don't know how many times they've been relegated from League One in the last 10 years. I think it's twice. I just don't think they've got enough to stay up this time. I don't think there's much quality on the park, and I feel for the Crewe fans because last season they didn't look too bad, but this season, it's not a season to remember, is it? In 23rd place, I've gone for Morecambe, and this is actually quite harsh. I do like Morecambe, and I did want them to stay up, but they've been okay so far this season. They're definitely getting goals. That Stockton is a goal scorer, isn't he? But I think over the course of the season, they might slowly start to fall away, and I just think they're going to fall through the trapdoor. It would be nice to see Morecambe stay up. I do like the little club staying up in League One, and they did so well to get promoted last year, but with Morecambe, are they going to do it? Is there enough quality in the tank? I just don't think so. In 22nd place, I have gone for Gillingham, and it'd obviously be a massive shame for the Gillingham fans if they were to go down this season. The thing is, for me, Gillingham have been in League One for quite a few years, and they could easily stay up. They know how to. They've been in League One, like I say, for a few years now, but I just think this season they don't look as strong as some of the seasons that have gone by. In the recent form, I think they've only won 1 of their last 6, and they really do need a good surge of form to try and get away from that bottom 4 and steer clear of it, because for me they're going to be in the mix, and I think they might fall through the trapdoor this season. In 21st place, I've gone for Fleetwood Town. It really would pain me to see them go down as well, because Fleetwood Town are one of my favourites of the small clubs in the Football League, and they are doing so well to be in League One. They've been in League One for quite a while as well, but this season they don't look quite as good as they have done in recent seasons, do they? They just look like they're going to be in that battle this season, and if they can't start to pull away like Gillingham, I think they could be another team that just falls through the trapdoor. I think it'll be tight with Fleetwood. I think they might just stay up or they might just go down, but I'm saying 21st place for them. Just above that, I've gone for Doncaster Rovers, Shrewsbury Town, AFC Wimbledon, and Cheltenham Town. Now, Doncaster Rovers, pretty worrying start for their fans. They have started to pick up the form a bit because they were glued to bottom for a little while at the start of this season, but I think with Doncaster, they should be a big enough club to stay up. They've got a few decent players in there. I think if the manager can get them playing some good stuff and just get that form consistently improving, they don't have to be amazing to stay up. I think they will just get over the line, but it could be a season that they want to write off quickly and move on to the next season. In 19th place, I have gone for Shrewsbury Town. They've been in League One for about 6 or 7 seasons now, which is quite impressive for Shrewsbury Town, because you think of them as a club, they're not the biggest club in League One, but they're consistently in there, aren't they? And I think so far this season, there's been signs that they could be in a relegation battle, but I think they've got enough quality players and enough goals in that team to get over the line, and I think Shrewsbury Town should be okay this season. In 18th are AFC Wimbledon. I like Wimbledon, I like their fans. Their fans have been through hell and back, but they deserve to be in League One at least, and I think they will stay up again this year. It's another one of them seasons where Wimbledon will probably just be happy to stay up, and I think things are looking positive in general. I think the new ground looks quite nice. I think fans back in the stadium's obviously great as well, and they're going to be okay this season. I think with Wimbledon, they're just one of them teams that know how to stay up in League One, so I'm going to go for that. In 17th place, you've got to give a round of applause to Cheltenham Town in League One. Obviously promoted last season, they looked so good. And so far this season, they look really good. And to be honest, I'm probably being a bit harsh putting them 17th. They could finish a bit higher than that. But to be honest, just to stay up in the grand scheme of things would be amazing for Cheltenham Town. They picked up some good results. That 1-1 draw at Portsmouth the other day, I noticed that. That's a good draw away. And yeah, they should have enough to stay up this season. As we move into mid-table, I've gone for Burton Albion, Cambridge, Charlton, and Accrington Stanley. Now, Burton Albion, they're quite a hard team to call. I think we saw last season they flirted with trouble. This season they've been fairly okay. They're a team that if they put a good run together, they can easily get into the playoffs. League One is that tight that if you just put a good run together when you're mid-table, you close in on the playoffs like nothing. but a bad run and they could slip down the table. So I think going mid-table for a team like Burton Albion is quite a safe bet. 15th, I've gone for Cambridge United. Once again, you've got to say well done to a newly promoted team doing so well so far this season, and maybe a bit like Cheltenham, maybe I'm being a bit harsh to Cambridge by putting them quite a bit further down than where they actually are in the table. I think over the course of the season, they might drop off a little bit, but I think once again, just staying up for Cambridge is a massive success. So next up, I've gone for Charlton Athletic in 14th place, pretty much mid-table, and I think because there's so many big teams in this division, people forget that Charlton are still a very big team. I think it was only about 15 years ago they were in the Premier League, and God, they deserve to at least be in the Championship. They've had a slow start this season, and I think they will get better over the course of the season, but ultimately that slow start really will kill them if they wanted to try and get into the top 6. It's still doable, but yeah, there's a bit of catching up to do for Charlton Athletic. In 13th place, I've gone for Accrington Stanley, and I don't have to remind you how good Accrington are doing for the size of club they are. They are doing so well, and it only takes one good run in one good season for them to get into the playoffs and just sneak their way into the Championship. Wouldn't it be fantastic to see them in the Championship? Imagine that. But for this season, I think they've been okay so far. I think ultimately mid-table for them. As we move into the top half, we've got some big clubs here. Bolton Wanderers, Lincoln City, Portsmouth Football Club and Ipswich Town. Now, if we start with Bolton Wanderers, their current form isn't actually that good, but they had a really good start to the season. Let's not forget they've only just come back from League Two, and they might need a season or two to build before they can start challenging for the Championship. But I tell you what, overall, they're still doing really well for a newly promoted team, and I know there's going to be expectancy for them to finish in the top half, but when you've just come up from one division, you need that season to consolidate, and I think mid-table for them would still be a very good achievement. I think Bolton, it'll be interesting to see where they go in the next 5 years. In 11th place are Lincoln City, and this is quite a hard one to predict. Remember, last season they were in the playoffs, and they're always flirting around the top 6 or 7, aren't they, Lincoln City? They're quite a decent team, they play good football, and they've got a good fan base as well. I think Lincoln City could be one of them that challenge for it, but maybe just don't make it. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but at the moment, they're just outside the top 6, aren't they? In 10th place, Portsmouth Football Club, one of the biggest clubs in this division, and it's just a shame, isn't it? They've been in League One for a few years since they've bounced back from League Two, but they're really struggling to do that next jump and get into the Championship. They've had a few close calls, they've been in the playoffs a couple of times, but are they going to do it this season? I really thought the Cowleys were the right ones for Portsmouth, but so far this season, they look good on their day, but they're just so inconsistent that I don't think they're going to make the top 6. Look, there's still 2/3 of the season to go. They could prove me wrong, but for now, I'm just going to put Portsmouth in 10th place. In 9th place, Ipswich Town, easily one of the most entertaining teams to watch this season in League One. What a slow start they had. All those 2-2 draws at home, and they were conceding a lot and some mental scorelines. And then out of nowhere, they've surged towards the top 6. But I don't know if they've got the consistency levels to get in there and stay there. They just seem like a team that's really entertaining to watch, but maybe not quite good enough over the course of the season to get in there. They've obviously got goals in them. I think they're the highest scorers in this division. Macaulay Bond's been bagging a few. Really entertaining team to watch. It'll be really interesting to see what happens to Ipswich Town. Next then, we've got MK Dons, Sunderland, Sheffield Wednesday and Oxford United. Let's start with MK Dons. Wow, they are doing really well this season. In 7th place, I didn't quite expect this from MK Dons. Remember, there's some big clubs and some really good teams on display. There's some real Championship quality in the top half of League One, and MK Dons are mixing it in with them. They could just get in the playoffs this season. I ultimately think that they might just fall short. I've put them in 8th place. That'd still be a sensational achievement. But if there's any MK Dons fans watching this, how do you see your season panning out? In 7th place, I have gone for Sunderland, and this is quite surprising from me because at the start of the season, I backed them to win the league. I thought Sunderland are a big club. It's only a matter of time before they get promoted. And do you know what? They still might. My prediction isn't gospel. This isn't necessarily how it's going to work out. But I look at the recent results from Sunderland, that 5-1 defeat at Rotherham, that 3-0 defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, the teams that they're going to be battling against to try and get into the playoffs, and I just see that inconsistency that we've seen from the last couple of seasons in that Sunderland team this season as well, and I'm not sure with Sunderland. As a club, they should easily be in the top 6. They should be in the top 2. They're easily one of the biggest in this league. They've got a great fan base, and on their day, they can play some good football, but I think they might let their fans down this season and just finish outside the playoffs. In 6th place, I've gone for Sheffield Wednesday. The last time we spoke about them, they'd been drawing a couple of games, and since then, obviously, they beat Sunderland 3-0. I think they're going to be on the cusp this season. Ultimately, they might not finish in there, or they might. I think it'd be very close for Sheffield Wednesday, but I think they've got a good team. I like the manager. I like the fans. I think Sheffield Wednesday will just finish in there, and it'd be interesting to see if they can bounce back at the first attempt. In 5th place, Oxford United, the form team of the league right now, and who's going to stop them when they're playing such good football? Oxford United are always in the mix. Remember, they were in the playoffs last season as well. They went out in the semi-finals to Blackpool, but I always think a team that's always finishing in and around the playoffs one season, it will just be enough to see them go up. And what an interesting addition Oxford United would be to the Championship. Can they do it this year? So then my top 4 in League One are Wycombe Wanderers, Rotherham United, Wigan Athletic and Plymouth Argyle. Starting with Wycombe, wow, they're doing really well. I didn't quite expect this from them. Obviously, they did fantastic last time they were in League One. They did sneak up through the points per game thing, through the playoffs. It was a little bit fishy, but I think ultimately they did have a good season that time round. They were very unlucky not to stay up in the Championship last year. They ended it really well, and they've taken that good form from the end of last season definitely into the start of this season. You think with Ainsworth, with that strong squad of players, Wycombe Wanderers are easily going to be in the playoffs for me. They've been so good so far this season, especially at home. As long as they don't wobble like they did in that Ipswich game where they lost 4-1, I think they should be okay this season. I think Wycombe will be in the playoffs. In 3rd place, I've gone for Rotherham United. If there's going to be anyone to break into that top 2 that isn't currently in that top 2, for me it might be Rotherham United. They're always too strong for League One, aren't they? They're just a bit of a yo-yo team at the moment. They're not strong enough to stay up in the Championship, but they're too strong for League One. I wonder if they can go up this year. Could they stay up next year in the Championship? It'll be interesting to see. I've backed them to finish 3rd, which is in the playoffs. Quite interesting, they've gone for all 3 teams that came down from the Championship last year to finish in the playoffs in League One this year here. Be interesting to see if that's what happens. In 2nd place, I've gone for Wigan Athletic. I do have to apologise to the Wigan fans. At the start of the season, I did have you to finish outside the playoffs, and you've proved me wrong big time. They're currently top of the league with the most wins in the league this season. 11 wins, which is sensational. They're playing like a Championship team. They look Championship ready. Can they go up this season? I think they will in 2nd place. Just pipping them to the title, in my opinion, I have gone for Plymouth Argyle, who have been quite simply outstanding so far this season. I think with Wigan Athletic, there's a few people expecting them to be in and amongst it, but for me, except for the Plymouth fans, there probably wasn't many people expecting Plymouth to have done what they've done so far this season. It has been amazing from Plymouth Argyle. They look like a Championship team. They've only lost 1 game so far this season. Hardy looks like a really good player who's going to bag the goals. And I think if they could just keep winning those home games, they look quite good at home. They're really good on the road. I've said before, Plymouth fans are really good on the road. They're looking like a really special team. And like I've said before, it'd just make it more interesting if we had a team from Devon make it into the Championship. So then guys, that wraps up today's video talking about my updated League One table predictions. Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments. Like I say, if you're new around here, do hit that red subscribe button. Make sure you've left a like on this video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.